Hello everybody, quick shout out before we start to On the Farm 60 in Rochelle. If you want a shout out, just leave a comment in below. The first 2 comments asking for a shout out, I'll try my best to pronounce their names, and you might be in the next video. As you can see, my lawnmower's in pieces at the moment. It's not doing the best, and the reason for that, as you see, I got the tires off and the transmission is sitting here. So I've been having transmission issues. I'm gonna pull this apart. What I think is happening is at one point we had to pull this apart to get some pieces of metal that broke off inside of it, because one of these C-clips from around the edges broke off when we were trying to pull the pulley off, and so we had to pull it all apart to get that. And if you can see on the shaft, it wiggles up and down, which we're supposed to put like another washer or 2 there. And so what I think is happening is that comes up and it skips a gear and then it keeps going, because you'll be driving along, everything will be fine, and then you'll just do a dip or like a jolt to almost a stop, and then you jolt again to come back up to speed, all very, very quickly. And so I'm going to be fixing that today. So once you've done that, just a few tips. When you're undoing all the bolts, try and do them in a star pattern, even look it up if you want to, and make sure you don't undo one all the way, and do them all evenly. So I've got all my bolts off, I think, and so I'm just going to tip over the top. Mine's pretty greasy and mucky inside. That's just because when I did the pulley swap and had to get the stuff out of the transmission, it only had grease in it, and we thought that grease might be a bit thick, so we added some Lucas oil additive stuff in it, and that's just made it so it doesn't heat up so much, just in case. So I've got a fully manual transmission. There's not much of these out there. They're only on really old lawnmowers, and I like these types because, well, they're so good for tug of wars. I got those Munty tires on them, and they still managed to turn them pretty good, even with a thin belt. So what I've done is there's 2 washers on the inside where the cog was. This went through the hole, well, coming up from the other side, and there was the cog on there. There's 2 washers making it not go that way. There was a thin one and a thick one, and so I'm taking the thin one and putting it on this side, just because if you pushed it down it would grind and it would like be really stiff, and so that should stop that from happening. Then I've just got an old washer that'll fit on it, and I put some oil on it so it's nice and slippery, and so I'm just going to put that there. Going to put that back through the hole, put this back on, and then put back on the C-clip and put it all back together. Now, if you haven't pulled your transmission apart, you might want to put some grease on it and make sure everything is nice and slippery so that it causes no friction and doesn't wear it down. I should really change the oil I have in this because it's gone all yucky and green, but it should be okay. So I'll see you when it's done. Okay, another tip is whenever you're pulling these transmissions apart, take the tires off. It makes it a much easier day, because it's really annoying to put that diff back together. That's the differential. So that changes it, so one tire can turn so the other doesn't, so they don't skid when you go around corners and wear them down faster. But as you can see, I've got this back on. If I lift up the transmission, it has practically no play in it now. That's me trying to make it have play, but it's pretty much perfect, and it still spins good, and so I'm going to put it back together and hope for the best. Another tip whenever you're pulling apart these transmissions, especially the fully manual ones, which has all the gears in the transmission, is do not touch, well, I am touching it right now, but do not shift gears with this top plate off, because there's little ball bearings inside these holes. Well, there's one there and one there, and that's just so it clicks into each gear. But if you move that, they can fall out, and it's a massive pain to get them all back in. So just a couple tips when pulling apart transmission. So I got it all back together. It works fine. If I pull it, it doesn't feel like it's gonna skip or anything, and if I push it, it doesn't grind like it used to. So it should be better than it was before. Hopefully that's fixed the problem. If it hasn't, I don't know what I'll do then, but for now that should do the trick.